Good morning, everyone, and welcome along. Welcome to Steelhorse Station. It's probably evening or afternoon, depending on where you are in the world, but it's certainly 8 o'clock in the morning here in sunny Melbourne. And I can see we've got a couple of folks in, which is terrific. John, great to see you. Thanks for popping on by. I can imagine how hard. I've only been to a couple of bingo calls, and the serious players, boy, you wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of their walkers. So you got to sit at the right table, and you're going to mark your card in the right way. So I reckon that's a high pressure job, just calling all the same. But I thought today we will head across to the hills of Tuscany. So let's duck on over. So there's the. So I've done no prep of any substance on this map because I thought it'd be a good opportunity to do a leap straight in. I literally opened it up to make sure it booted, and I did a quick flyover to decide where I was going to base our operations. So this is we've started in farm manager mode. Let's go have a look at the settings here. Not that they're terribly important. I've got zone markers on for the minute. Let's play with euros and kilometers Celsius and hectares. Everything else is pretty normal there. We want seasonal growth, yes. For the first time in a long time, I haven't got precision farming on. So I feel precision farming is no use to you if you are doing grapes and olives. In fact, it creates problems in my experience. So I've gone without precision farming, which will be something to remember. Fieldstone, well, it doesn't really matter for what we're doing today. I'll turn it off just because I like it off. Everything else is fine. Trailer fill limits I like. We don't want workers buying anything unsupervised. And you can turn off just like in real life. And there we go. So, this is the starting farm. There's a few sheds that look the part. I must say, my first and simple impression is it looks pretty good. This is looking very much like pasture of some description. What we got there? For sheep. So 65, so it's a pretty standard sheep pasture over here. What's on this side? This is looking like chickens. And it is indeed 360 of those. That looks very nice. There's a few bales hiding at the back there. Looks like it should be a somewhere to dump manure and things. It could be dumping anything on the ground there, I guess. A couple of old looking silos, which are pretty flash. Do like the dirt and dust and rubbish that's on there. There is plenty of space in this farmyard for machinery. Starting on farm manager, of course, we don't have any machinery. Pigs 270, and all the usual things you'd look to speed. They look like the some of the alien gym pens, if I'm not mistaken. They may not be, but flying deer. And this is probably cows down here, is it? No more sheep, maybe. cows. I'm tipping cows. Yep, 80 cows. So there's what I would imagine is the starter farm. If we have a look at the PDA, let's... So we are... It does look like there is a tractor on the map, 6230, which I did not purchase. But nonetheless, let's see. So we're up here. So the starter farm is up in this area at the top. We've just walked around those sheds and the like. The shop is down where the 6230 is pictured down there. And there's a range of fields and sizes. So farmland, you can see on this, on the left-hand side, I made an executive decision that I wanted to start over near some grapes, and I thought this area looked pretty good, so we'll duck over there shortly. But field prices are reasonable. I've got sizes. I do have sizes. So you can see sizes range from tiny, you know, so less than half a hectare, all the way up to, what do I see in there? 2s, 3s, there's a couple of 4s, 5s. So generally it's a small, there's a 6 on 79. Let's have a look at field 79. Where's that? Give us a perspective. 79 over here. So pretty good range of field sizes. There are some forestry areas on the map. So if we go to this mode, which you can purchase. So that large field, 205 down to one of these. Let's pick one of these little fields. Well, these little plots here, 18,000. So if you want to start from scratch with some sort of small playthrough, I would expect it'll work very well. You don't need very much money to get you going on here. There are plots that you can't buy, I think, or is it, am I mistaken? There are just little plots, but everything looks to be available. What I did find when I bought our area is that I had to buy, yeah, there you go. There may be productions here. There are a couple of plots where in order to buy the plot, you need to buy the production. And so that was certainly the case where I've decided to put down roots. But there you go, 167, 17,000. So the BGA is a good example. The BGA is here next to plot 83, and I can't buy that unless I buy the BGA. So the land comes with the production in a couple of cases here, if there's areas you can't buy. But by and large, all of the property includes the area right up to the place next door. So I don't know what that means if you're trying to put... if you've got a reason to want to put placeables on roadsides, but looks pretty good. Now, if let's just jump up and get a little bit of aerial perspective, because there are lots of hills. So it is an undulating map. So if we remind it, I'll leave the little guide in the top corner, but looking that way is looking towards the top of the map. So there is a tree border that sort of masks the land behind, but there you can see some extension through the trees, which is quite nice. Let's get up just a whisker higher, but you very quickly get a sense of the undulations. So very few dead flat fields. But lots of nice little features. So if we go to the right, we can head over to the... let's hang on a sec. Let's get a little bit more speed in that movement. That's better. Up we go there. So there are some productions scattered around the map, as you can see. Fairly standard for the most part. Turn you off. The exception is when it comes to olives and grapes. What's it say on there? So, Hot Bellerong Grain Cooperative. So there's a collection of the base game ones, but then particularly when it comes to grapes and olives, there's a number of mods that have been included. So I thought the wheat fields looked particularly good on the hillside here. So there's a little bit of that. This is one of the grape facilities. Grape processing plant. If we duck down there and have a look. Nicely done to blend in. 122,000. Oh, this is actually the olive mill. So they've done a specialty olive mill. I won't buy those for the moment, but you've got a place just to process olives. And there is, if I recall correctly, a special byproduct from olives. Let's have a look here. You can see if we... That's exactly what I was thinking, John, was the Laverda harvester could fit in really nicely here and would be a bit of fun. So that was part of my thought. So all the conventional items, and for the most part, at least one or two sell points for most products. So there's a little bit of choice going on. There are white grapes as well as regular grapes, or in addition to regular grapes. Olive oil is a thing. White grape juice, and then the byproduct of pressed grapes, which is called marc, and the byproduct of olives. I've got the platinum extension stuff in, and there is some of the greenhouse mod from Newlands is also included. So that's the deal. So you can see we've got sheds and bits and pieces hidden away in the forest there. Where am I? I'm going this way. So there's a little village. Another production down there, by the looks. Oh no, where am I here? This looks like the dealership. I've gone south rather than west. So it is the dealership. New Holland dealer. Ah, that's what that is. I took a contract because I was curious. If we get down on the ground, turn flight off for a second. Because one of the things that I noticed was I think the map maker has done a pretty reasonable job of trying to help the AI along. So if we turn off flight for a second, which I always like to see. And I took a contract, I think, up on field 63. We drive out to the road and we ask you, is it field 63? Let's have a look. It is field 63. My memory served correctly. So if we just use the regular in-game 63s up here, we're down here, so I have gone south rather than west. And I just want you to go up to there. What do? You happily head off, which is always a promising start and not true on every map. You managed to navigate that corner. All right, if I turn on auto drive to see what sort of auto drive courses are here, we can see that there's a spline, normal looking spline in each direction, so that's a good start. Let's just lift out line height above, which to markers, no. Like that. Okay, that corner's a bit tight, and so consequently he gets stuck on the corner. So that's where, even though the map maker's done a pretty reasonable job because it's all connected, they don't, unless they individually develop the routes like Farmer Ed and the auto drive guys, the tight corners will catch you out with equipment, so you'll need to do a little bit of work. But you can see what the scenery is like. This is really quite pretty. A little bit of a quarry and a dam there. Changes in elevation are slowing down the path finding on the worker, but he's still navigating all right. Let's have a look here. Where's he heading? He's on the right track. So that's pretty good. Good set of splines to work with if you want to build up a more extensive auto drive course. They haven't gone everywhere, but they've got a bit of cover. There's the BGA off the left hand side there. And a couple more fields up here and we will be at our destination. A really interesting landscape, I think, and these trees that you find in Tuscany. I was very fortunate. So that's our property up there. I was very fortunate to spend several weeks there about 4 years ago. Stayed on some farms. I really like that agri-tourism concepts that they have in Italy. So it's, if you've never done it, it's a great way to travel around and stay. You need a car, of course, but you get to meet some really terrific people and stay at some really nice places. So what we'll do, just because, why is my steering wheel has gone, lost its settings again. It's worked fine for a month. There we go. And we're all good. So what we'll do is we'll just stick you on a regular worker, I think. Let's see what happens. What line will you pick along there? Just starting you cold. You snap to terrain? Yes, you will. Okay, we'll let you run there. So let's run up the hill here. So we've got some oats that need to come in because I'm pretty sure all these fields are ours. How many fields did I end up buying? So being farm manager, we had 1.5 million, so but no equipment. So, you know, 108 he's currently doing, but everything's south, bordered sort of by the road, and field 80 is ours. So we've got, let's have a look here. So we've got a bunch of harvest activity that we need to get done, and the crop types look to be, we've got some oats is in there. I don't know what that, white grapes. So we've got a selection of red and white grapes to harvest. So pretty clearly we need to grab a couple of harvesters. We'll make do with just one grape harvester. And if you haven't seen it before, I'm actually a fan of this guy. Now, he doesn't look markedly different to this one, but I just find him a little bit easier to turn and handle. We'll get the bigger capacity, which kicks the price up just a fraction. And because we're on hillsides, we'll get the better engine. We're not going to buy it because we can't afford that for our farm at this stage. We've got other stuff we need. And I don't think our fields are big enough to worry about GPS, so it'll be more trouble than it's worth. If we develop a series on here, we might go down that path. So let's just lease you 13,000. I don't think we're going to get 13,000 in grapes off our little plot. Now we're going to want some grape gear. Where are we? Beet, sugarcane, cotton technology. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the button. Isn't there one of those that gives me an equivalent to that button, but for equipment? Beet, potato, grape technology. I was looking at it and looking right past it. So we want a trailer to put these in. One of these trailers can chain. So let's get, what are they? 6 meters. We're only a little operation, but we will have white and red. So let's buy 2 of these. I've loaded a bunch of gear that most of which we won't need for the moment. What's special about the Hill of Tuscany mod? Oh, probably the fact that it takes white grapes. Does this one not take white grapes? It does not. Trap for young players. Base game stuff doesn't process your white grapes. So that'll get annoying. So let's go and throw those away. Should have spotted that earlier. And I'm going to sneeze. Maybe. Excuse me for that. Hay fever this morning. Now, how many of these had I bought? 375. Let's go with 1, 2. The rest of this equipment, we won't worry. Oh, we will need a, what do you take? Your different grapes. So the first thing I observe is they haven't made it easy for, you'll have to do some work if you're on PC. A bit of a problem if you're on console. You're kind of a bit limited in some of the equipment for the grapes they've modded in, which is just a bit of a shame. And it'll be interesting to see whether all the equipment works on the vines as well. Should do. Because it's just the produce of the vine that's the problem. Now we need tractorios. And so I'm thinking in terms of rules, it's appropriate we would have Landinis. So let's grab one of these little ones. At least. Quite like the little Landini, very versatile. 110, 120, yeah. What I do find is you need the most horsepower you can generate. My prediction is that we won't go there for today, but a lot of the Antonio Carrero gear will struggle on these hillsides because of the with wheel slip. Based on my past experience, they work fine in dead flat wineries or vineyards. We want a 3-point. We want GPS on the tractor. We'll buy you, I think. Blue looks like a good colour for Landini. Get one of those. And is there a, did I put a bigger Landini in? Valtra Landini I did. So let's go with just straight standard. We'll put a front loader just in case. 151, we can afford that. Rightio. That's probably enough to, whoops, to get us started, I reckon. Workers ploughing away quite nicely. We'll have a, because of the angle on the field, we'll have a headland we'll need to sort out, but he's going quite capably on that contract. Now, let's see if we've got enough vehicles here, so you can lead. Cute little compact harvester. Let's, oh, we only need to put one trailer on each. That's a much bigger brother trailer, isn't it? Tractor. How's everyone doing today anyway? It's a couple of people there by the looks. So you follow there. Will you pull the last one? There we go. Looks like we got ourselves a convoy. Oh, one thing so some of you might have noticed I got the got the map object remover mod. I don't know if it'll work here. Let's find out. And it does. So just something that I noticed is if you take a gate like this, you've got to make a guess as to where the reference point for the mod is. So if you come out here and say I want to get rid of this gate, and in my case I can't, my buttons won't let me select the gate to hide it. I've actually got to find the reference point for the node. So in this particular case it's on this end. Oops, what's happening here? There we go. And now I can hide it. So if you don't like the barriers, that's the way to get rid of them if you're on PC. Very easy. And is it Control H or Shift H? No, it's not Shift H. Not when I'm in a vehicle anyway. We'll give plenty of room to get round the posts. Will the procession get out before the car? No, he won't. We'll make the car stop. 2 cars are going to be a problem. Where's the other Landini gone? He didn't move at all. How rude. Pulls the trailer fine. Let's try that again. There we go. Very cute. So as you can see, there's a little bit of traffic on the map. I've worked hard to fit features and things in. It's a really nicely presented map. It feels lived in and finished. I think I mentioned in last night's stream, the only thing I find missing is the little blue boxes on the side of the road as you run around between the towns. Now, where did we have to go here? We're going to go right again, don't we? To our place. Make the corner. No. There's a car got in the way. So the roads are tight, just like the real thing. We'll leave those tractors there. They can sort themselves out or not. We'll go back and get them shortly. Apart from the fact that they're really evenly spaced, this little forest on the right hand side has a more of a eucalypty feel to it. Nice field of sunflowers there. Which is ours. And directly in front on the right hand side is a grove of olive trees, which I'm keen to have a look at. We can run over there, just have a quick squiz. So these are the large olive tree mod for each individual tree, and you harvest them using the picker. So they'll be in the mod. Maybe not there. Maybe the miscellaneous, perhaps. There it is. You need one of these guys. Which then fits around the tree. The curtains come out and it shakes it. So that's how you harvest the olives off these trees, which I haven't tried, so we might look to do that at some point in the future. And I'm presuming if we go to the menu, where are we here? Productions, orchards, we can plant all of those. So both white and red grapes, but also the olive trees. So I don't know how the yield compares to strip olives, but there's certainly the individual trees are cheaper to plant. And if you look at the area, you know, 4 trees gives you more area than a single section of the olive trees planted in from the base game. So that looks pretty good. Let's have a run up to our farm. So this is the entrance into our farmyard. That's one of the fields that we need to do right there. Just a short little one. That's one of the things I would say is that the pre-planted vineyards are generally pretty small. This one on our right's not a bad size. A couple of little pocket handkerchief ones that fit in quite nicely. I've found from doing grapes in the past, it's really handy to aim to have a vineyard where a single run between the vines goes close to filling the hopper on you. So working on a multiple of either half or full. That's no good, John. It could also be the your body recovering from the episode too. But yes, feeling continually tired is no fun at all. So this is our yard. So we have a production which we purchased. So which was part of my rationale for being here. We need to deactivate that for the minute because we've got nothing in it. So we can produce the 2 varieties of grape juice, which also produces some byproduct for us. So that's all fine. So I figured a winery is in order. We've got these vehicles. The other thing I discovered, per the way the mod mentions, is you can't hide these using the object hider, which is not a problem, but just a bit disappointing. But that's a very typical vista I found for Tuscany. Looks lovely. I'd definitely imagine a table here sitting out having a glass of something. Maybe a piece of home farm produced pizza. Lovely. Let's go find these tractors. Are you still, you're not following anything? Now. Get our Landinis organised. Come on. Get off the crop. That'd be a good idea. If it's ours, we'll kill it. I do like this big Landini. I haven't driven this before. This would work quite nicely. Chain up a few of these trailers behind this big boy. Oh no, out of coffee. I like that they've set the gates back a little bit from the road, so it gives you a chance of being, even though the access road is narrow, it gives you a chance of actually being able to turn and drive in. It's a bit of a kink in the fence there. Is there a collision on that fence? Yes, there is. It's a small to medium equipment map. You'd get round here with medium equipment without too much trouble. Oh, we've lost the other Landini, have we? No, he's just coming up the driveway now. So let's get some grapes off, shall we? Yep. Unfold. Turn you on. Yeah. Remember the... No, we're not working. No, we're not working. Maybe we're not ready to harvest these. No, they're not ready to harvest. That'd be why. I thought some of these were. They're ready to harvest. What's going on here? Bold harvest to unload here. Why are you not harvesting? I know. Because you are a base game harvester and you don't recognize white grapes. That's a bit annoying. That's a trap for young players. Because this is a white grape vineyard. This is a regular grape vineyard, so we'll be able to do the one behind us. So did they put in any modded... Matteo Ricci, hello. Welcome along. Did they put in any modded harvesters? I didn't scroll that far. Yes, they did. So they've modded the broad, but they haven't bothered to mod the ERO. Okay. It would have been so much easier if they'd just done the fill types properly. And they wouldn't have needed the mod. Black Sheep modding French map. So is that... hi Andrew Perrin, welcome along. I am enjoying my first look at the map. Like everything, there's a couple of little things that get you, like that one just now, because I prefer this grape harvester to the other one, but it won't harvest the white grapes, we've just discovered. Old Stream Farm was I think the French map you might be referring to, and I loved Old Stream Farm. That was really the first map I got into on Farm Sim, and I probably put 500 hours into that map. They've very thoughtfully given us enough room to turn around here. And if you're ever wondering with this particular harvester, if you keep the beacon light lined up with the poles on your vines, you'll find it very easy to traverse. I would imagine plenty of fun could be had on here. It's always a bonus depending on the way you like to play, but if you like to play with some sort of economic constraint, it's quite expensive to set up vineyards because the vines themselves are so expensive to place from a capital standpoint. So having a map where there are some fields already with vines just gives you a way in. It makes a big difference. So like here, I've been able to use just the farm manager starting. We've still got 100,000 left, but we're able to get our crop for the most part off the field. We don't own this harvester, luckily. And I think if I was to play this mod, I'd be getting into the map and changing the fill type definitions, the white grapes, so that they are more generally available. Oops. I zigged when I should have zagged. Never mind. Oops. You can see there I got off my line. Try one. I have not... I looked at it when it came out, Andrew. The Pro Deal Center or whatever it's called, but I haven't actually played it or spent any time. I didn't download it. I just did Mr. Sealy P do a review of somebody's map tour of it. I saw it certainly looked attractive. Let's have a look in cab here. So that's the other thing, they put the steering wheel right in the center there, so you've got a nice little arrow to line up on, which makes it a lot easier for in-cab compared to the broad where you're actually sitting off to the left. Now it's doable in the broad, it's just you got to figure out your alignment, but this makes it a lot easier if you want the immersion of sitting in the cab. You can just line it up and away you go, just like that. I can turn you off. as you can see, this field is pretty small, so we've done all those turns and we've still only got 1200 litres. Now it's probably not, I haven't looked, what's the fertilizing state? So it wasn't properly prepped. Yeah, so our yield is terrible. Our yield is a shorking, which is part of the reason. It's also reasonably forgiving in terms of the angle of approach. So you see I was quite a distance off the right angle when we picked up that row. So the best sign for next year or next season is that if we prepare these grapes properly, we'll get a lot more yield. I think one of the things I'd be doing is joining these two little fields together. Who needs to be turning around in the middle here? It just seems like unnecessary work. But so far, an hour or so in, I'm quite enjoying this map. It's a bit of fun. Lots of scope for developing lots of it. The fields that are around us, you can see, lend themselves, and we can see the area around the farm that we've got here. We could easily develop more fields of into vines rather than doing arable crop. It looks like that's red grapes in front of us, so rather than turn, let's just zip straight down there, which is probably what we should have been doing all the way along. The vineyards are nice and smooth, which is good. %. And we've got just enough room to do the turn. Probably not enough room for course play. So if you wanted to, you can run your, yeah, see my angle of attack's just to direct there. Gonna come past and straighten, and almost got it. There we go. If you want to do your grapes with course play, you need further at each end, or else you'll find your implements will just get caught up trying to enter the row. We might have a look at that at some point in the future, just set ourselves up. Kind of got the beginnings of a scenario in my head without necessarily a whole storyline. Let's just, goodness, do that the hard way. At least from the cab we can see which ones we've been down or not. Coming up to our first full tank. I found on when I was playing on old stream and I was playing on hard economy that my aim point for making the grapes work for me was 20,000 litres of grapes. That was sort of the first milestone to be getting enough income to cover the leasing cost on the harvester. You don't use the harvester enough until you've got a serious amount of grapes. We've just filled up the pipe to warrant buying it early on. Unless one comes up in a sale, which sometimes they do. So, you're sitting over there waiting patiently. Now, from memory, this guy tips out the side rather than the rear. I think. Yes, it does. There we go. Perfect. Nice little animation. Let's just continue on. What's better to watch, folks? Do you prefer the screenshot in cab or out of cab? Just thinking I might need Mark Haythornwaite's assistance to, or advice to add the fill type for white grapes in such a way that it is available on the equipment that I want, so that I don't end up having to mod every piece of equipment that I want to use with the white grapes. Line it up. That building behind us looks like it could have come straight off Old Stream Farm. Nice little covered entrance to the little village that sits back there. I'm interested how many of you folks watching have done grapes. Do you enjoy them, not enjoy them? I found grapes preferable to olives, which was interesting. Don't know why. Just and I was disappointed that precision farming didn't cater for them at all. In fact, broke some aspects of how they work, so it was just disappointing. It depends. I found it depends on the setup, John. So what from my first fields, I did somewhat similar to this. Then as I developed the area that I had under grapes, I went for longer runs where the yield was closer to either half a bin or a full bin on the harvester, and a little more space at the end, which gave me enough room to turn around and get on to the... Now where are we over here? We've done all of those. $180 rows, that's plenty of grapes. How many rows did I have in the end? I was doing 2 fields over near the sawmill, and then I had combined was it 7 and 8 and 9, and was working up the hill towards the township beside the main farm. And I don't remember what else because it was my sort of first serious farm development. I was also, just getting into all of the farm sim features as I understood it. So, my first attempts at landscaping were on that map, and so I managed to break things royally. Because Old Stream had some interesting quirks with landscaping. We've got one in a row in front. We have. Yeah, but these 2 fields would definitely be better joined together. Yeah, I understand, Andrew. I found a couple of things. First of all, the challenge of getting the right equipment made a big difference. So, getting the right tractor that would fit between the grapes and allow you to mulch and plough in a single pass. So with one implement on the front and one on the back. Made a big difference, and it took quite a bit of experimentation to find that combo. It might be easier now because there's lots more mods available, but that's where I was really disappointed with the Antonio Carrero pack, because the tractors actually didn't help. The tractor that I found consistently the best, well, the little Landini was good. It could do a number of jobs, but it just didn't quite have enough horsepower. Hey, Farmer Ed. But the Valtra G series just has a little bit, the top engine just has a little bit more horsepower and is just narrow enough to fit between the vines. So on a hillside, it works really well. But one of the things I'll be intrigued about on this map is to see how the equipment's moved along, because I really haven't done grapes since I started streaming. And then the other thing I was starting to do was experiment with the early versions of Courseplay in terms of what you could do with a worker and grapes, and I certainly managed to get harvesting happening, but that's where just having the right amount of space and setting up your tracks, a racetrack, tended to work better. I then did some grapes on Adelshofen. That was really good. Great to see you, Farmer Ed. In what for you would be Monday morning stream on the Oaks, about 10 minutes in, I talked through that really weird quirk on trying to reverse silage trailers to that sell point on the Oaks. So if you're interested and have time, I would certainly welcome any opinion you have on that. No, there's no rush. There are other ways to solve for it. I mean, the trailer's dropped there, so it's pretty confident it's not a trailer issue. I think it's an auto drive issue. My working theory is that auto drive reversing has different detection points for a drop than it does when it's going forwards. I don't know if that's intended or if that's a bug. "22 minutes in, there you go." There's certainly no rush. It just was a curiosity. I hadn't encountered it before, and I couldn't for the life of me understand why my vehicles, I'd send them there and they'd actually stop waiting, having crossed the sell point. It's like, this is just bizarre. And then I'd go and take them off auto drive, jump in manually, drive forward fraction, and immediately the trigger would come up, and it's like, that's bizarre. Now, where are we up to here? That looks like all those are done. So we've done all of those ones and all of those ones. Excellent. So just an interesting piece of trivia. So in Australia, vineyard like this would have a flowering plant at least at the end of every second row. Usually roses. And it's got something to do with a pest. Can we drive through there? I'm just curious. Oh, that's going to be tight, isn't it? No, there are collisions on the gate or on the... We don't go through the gap. Oh, there's a fence there. How did I get out of here before? Must have come around the other side. So there we go. Those couple of fields gave us just about a trailer load. I'm on the wrong side. So let's duck down the shop. And I think I put them in. I did. Get ourselves a Laverda. But we don't need it. What's the difference? Just engine size, is it? Yeah, let's get the bigger engine. We'll lease you 20 grand. I'm guessing that's not going to pay back very nicely. Combinations. Let's grab the 25 footer. And we'll lease you as well. We're going to need a trailer, I think, because you're not going to fit. 25 is 8 meters, isn't it? 25 foot. Header trailer. Did the Laverda come with a header trailer? Did not. 30-foot trailer should do. At least one of those. I have not heard of that. I don't recognize Laverda as a brand at all, so let's see here. Do you have a hitch? You do. That's kind. You sound like a harvester. I can see that equipment is placed in the yard. There's plenty of room for it to spawn here, so... And it's in a place that's reasonable to get it out. Which way do I want to be? Around the other side. It doesn't look like you lock onto there. It's a bit annoying. So there we go. These roads are hard work for anything that's oversized. As is often the case on farm roads. But I like the fact that the roads look the right size. Some maps, they just get the proportions a bit wrong. Lovely. Looks like our worker that was cultivating the fields got it all the way to 92%, which is pleasing. We did nothing special there, no course play or anything. No, I haven't got a trailer for the grain, so... mph is plenty fast enough. It's one of the things I enjoy riding my bike. I have no desire to go that fast on it. Just not something that appeals to me. Put me behind the wheel of a car and sure, driving fast is fun, but I am very well, Peter, thank you. Thank you for asking. I hope you are well also. So yeah, I like race cars, but going fast on a bike, it's not my thing. I like the tootling along, enjoying the countryside on my bike. I have a BMW 1200 RT. It's my special luxury. Doesn't get nearly enough road use, or any use actually. Now, what was that field in front of us? I think was ours. Let's pop you here. We're looking at hills of Tuscany, Peter. We've bought ourselves a few fields. Ah. That would have been fairly handy. Long PTO. It was very funny the first time I did the test ride on my bike at that dealership, and it was a huge step up from the bike that I'd had before, which was just a 600 knock around town sort of bike. Literally, I was using it sort of as a commuter. There we go. And nice lean we've got going there already. Anyway, I jumped on the on the RT, and first thing I noticed, so my old bike didn't have a fairing, it was naked, and so I get to the edge of the lot to turn out into traffic, and I've turned the handlebars, and of course this whole fairing arrangement that sits in front of me on the RT didn't move, and it felt really disconcerting that nothing in my line of sight other than my handlebars turned. So that was weird. Nope, I'm going to wheel off the ground, but maybe that's just this is a bit steep. Tell you what, you wouldn't want to be trying to do this with a regular harvester. I reckon you'd have no chance of getting this crop off. I'm struggling to turn that corner. It settles back down on its haunches. Can I go up there? Oh, look at that. It's pretty cool. Quite impressive. And then the next thing I noticed, I'm driving along the road, and I got this really weird feeling that I should have a seatbelt on. I just sort of, it just felt strange. Can't explain it. Probably because I was going, you know, there's a lot more acceleration than I was used to on my previous bike. And when I applied the brakes at the first set of traffic lights, I just about stood it on its nose. It's like, oh, these ones work a little bit more responsively than my old ones. I do like this harvester. It's just a bit of fun. This looks different. It's very clever the way it works. I realise we're going the wrong way around the field, I guess, but there were trees up the other side. That'll be my excuse. Yeah, so this harvester appears made for this map, that's for sure. I can imagine I worked with a guy that had a top of the line Suzuki, which at one point was the fastest legally available road bike in Australia, and that was scary. It had so much torque. As a pillion, you were two up and you weren't paying attention, you could just about pull away fast enough to leave the pillion sitting on the ground. It was just ridiculous. So we are going to need a trailer because we're not going to get it all off in here. But nor are we going to get enough crop off here. Is that the model, John? I'm not familiar enough. There we go. Nice extension. So twist. So we've got angle and elevation. Didn't even spill the coffee in the cab. That's cool. Someone else may know, John. I'm not in a position to add anything at all. All right, let's turn around because we probably we'll get back along there. Got some more of that olive grove. Do we own that one behind us there? What are we looking at? Let's have a look at the map there. So what field is that? That's 107, and we do own it. So we own some olive trees. Do they need harvesting? They're still growing. That's quite a collection, Farmer Ed. That'd be a bit of fun for a Sunday morning squirt out into the countryside. Coffee at, you know, a village. My sister-in-law's husband, they live in suburban London, and he's a member of the Ducati club, and he has a, can't remember the model, going to say it's a 1000cc Ducati. So that's every now and again on a Sunday morning he goes off with them. That's a bit of fun. Oh wow, that's quite an achievement and a project. I'm gonna get all the way back. We might go the top edge, I think. Yes, you're almost certainly right, John. He's always bemoaning the little oddities. I remember relatively recently he decided that he was having trouble with the battery and so wanted to replace it with a lithium cell, and it was like a half a day's work to actually get the battery out by the time he took off all the pieces of fairing and rubbish that they put in the way. She wasn't impressed about it. He was expecting a much easier job. Righty-ho. So now we need a vehicle to empty this into. I'm guessing our yard. Ah, that's just rude. So I don't believe... No, we just have a production. We don't have any silo capacity. What's over here? Oh, that's where the greenhouse is. So it's a smaller version of the garden centre that we've got on Newlands. You can see it does some of the same plants. So that's just over behind the road. You can see that the regular worker we put on field 63, albeit the odd shape, has done pretty much everything except the headland. So we can finish this. So what we can do is jump over there, zip round the headlands, which will finish this contract off. Oops. Let's do that inner headland first. Some semblance of how we would do it if it was our field. That edge looks to be perfectly completed. I don't think I have much in the way of banned words. It's only a few tube intercepts it. Now we're going here 96%. I reckon we'll get pretty close by the end of this. That's being fairly productive. No, yeah, we will. There's the garden centre just there. I didn't feel any inclination to... we've already got our garden centre working quite well for us on Newlands. That's the contract done. We can zip back and finish that guy off. Collect you. So in terms of contracts available on the map, there's quite a selection. Plenty of fertilising contracts available at the moment, and now a whole heap of little harvest contracts. So the only way we'd make money with that harvester is run around and do a heap of these while we've got at least... It's going to take several contracts to get our $20,000 back, but there's plenty available. And I reckon it'd perform better on these hillsides than some of these pieces of equipment that are being offered for the contracts. So it'd be interesting. Let us turn that off. Let's go down here and grab an appropriate grain trailer. Did I put in anything Italian? Yes, we have some Cressettos. They all look a little on the large side. Feltrina maybe, that's also a bit big. Something that sort of size. I think. Buy one of those. Now we need our Landini. Get you out of the way. Oh, that's strange. Beep, 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 beep. No. Nothing happened on this end. And... not that I necessarily believe it, but YouTube's telling me there's an excellent connection. So... all of the indicators are the same as they normally would be. Let's send this guy back down to the... down to the store. Wonder if you can get out of the driveway. Let's see. I want you. Destination is here. What are you gonna do? Is this... okay, so you can't quite get out of my driveway. Windows is a wonderful thing, Farmer Ed. Audio can do anything strange. What am I trying to do? I want to cancel that job, don't I? Because I want to drive down to the road. Let's see. From down here, it should work. There you go. Right. So we're waiting for him to come back. Then we can use... where is it? Oops, I shouldn't have jumped into the middle of there. There we go. Wrong vehicle. I want you. Could have sworn I was getting into there. That's better. Let's drop you in our production. Have a look at the economics and see if we make grape juice or raisins. Okay. your triggers, it's interesting that you've adjusted the trigger so it's in the right spot. That's different to the base game. Base game trigger for this building layout's out here in the forecourt. Come on, what are you doing? Straighten up. So the trigger is a little touchy. You have to be lined up right. Let's go and see. Raisins actually lose 25%, which is interesting. Making raisins. Down to get 3/4 of the volume. So we've got 5,000 litres. Grape juice, we get pretty much 1 for 1. Not pretty much, we do get 1 for 1 and we get some byproduct. So if we have a look, let's see, our tool still doesn't think we have any because we just tipped them in the production. Let's go and have a look. Raisins sell for, we're on normal economy. So raisins sell for 2,700, grape juice 2,800. So it's financially substantially more attractive to produce grape juice. What's white grape juice? Much the same. It's interesting. So there's almost no benefit in processing the white grapes into grape juice. Less than 10%. What about regular grapes? Regular grapes, hello. Same. So the economics aren't quite what you would expect on the map. It's like 3% difference. Definitely juice is the way to go, but there's almost no point in running the production. What's Mark sell for? A couple hundred. So you make all your profit in the Mark. Is it Mark or March? I can't remember. Interesting. Never mind. Juice City. Oh, that's right. I've got to turn some juice on. So let's make grape juice because we do own the production. We needed that to buy the block. So it's kind of like, it's not like it was a big investment. And cycle time wise, what do we get? 2,500. Yeah. In terms of the margin, this actual production costs is eats into your margin. It eats like almost half your margin on making the grape juice, which is a bit bizarre. The byproduct we get heaps of byproduct. So to 2,000 litres of grapes produces 5,000 litres of byproduct, which is $1,000. So you make heaps more on the byproduct than you do on the actual on the actual primary product. It's completely back to front. So what you want to be is in the byproduct producing business, because you're going to make $1,000 profit on byproduct versus $100 profit on primary product. That's too funny. Oh, it's raining. That's not good. We got to the store. There's our trailer. First gear, please. There you go. Rain's not good. That'll interrupt my oat harvest. I suppose I could do some more grapes in the rain. So down here, so that we decided that was a grain mill. What's over here? Oh, there's the farmer's market. There are collectibles on the map. And if I can find one, they're actually oversized, I noticed, or at least the harvesters were. I did find one. I've only seen one. I haven't really been looking. I was only here for 5 seconds. That one in there. Getting through the gate is tricky. Nope. Oh, can't get out there. There's a drop point in there. No. Where did I see one? Let's have a look at the map. Just see if there's a driving route to take to look at anything else we want to have a look at while we're here. These are just fields down here in the corner to the best of my knowledge. We looked at the farm at the start. We could drive over to that. So we need to go right and right. Left at 102. We'll take the circuitous route. Where there's muck, there's brass. Very good. British bumper sticker. I like the way they've spent a little bit of time on some of the placeables, just changing the cladding to make them fit with the map. I think that's really nice. So there's some more vines there. Looks like a grass field. Yeah, 102. We want to go left down here. Yeah, so getting that fields there done with a regular harvester could be quite challenging, I think. Funny little building house, whatever it is, stuck in the middle of the field. Oh, a little bit of grass growing through the road there. All over the place I am. Lights are on that car. What we got in here? Looks like a sell point of some description. Maybe a bakery? Possibly? Not entirely obvious. We are here. That's the store at kilometer 0. Just a sell point. Nicely done in the little village. And there's another one around over there. I'm sure there's a car coming. Oh. Bit tight for driving around this little neck of the woods. Where's that? There it is down there. And that's the bakery. Okay, very good. You can buy the bakery for 50,000. Another nice, that's a decent size field of grapes there. I was just looking for another this looks like a bale sell point. And this is the edge of the map, I think. Yep. There we go. They're quite nicely done. There's a job I don't. This fuel point doesn't look. We'll see if we can fill up. It's oh, we've created a traffic jam in town. I don't know that that's a working fuel store. I haven't looked on the map. Doesn't show as having a yep, it is a working fuel store. Okay, so you can get your gasolino here. Even though it's not showing me an icon. Funny little plot in amongst the trees. What's this up here on the right? Very treed area. Looks like it. This is the sugar mill. Is that stones? Is that what that surface is? That might be like a little quarry there. There's the sugar mill. what I did discover is that the map objects hider mod will hide collectibles if you don't want to worry about them. You just want to turn them off. So as you find them, you can just hide them. Not significant, just a curiosity that I observed. We're just about on the top of the map. Back where it all began. Some of these little pinches will test your loaded equipment, I think, driving around the map. It's a little church, very pretty. That's the main farm that we started. That's the other thing we haven't done is put down a sleep trigger, but what we got up here on the right hand side is that dairy, maybe? It is the dairy. Cool. Lay-by. Very nice. Yeah, which way do we want to go? We want to go this way, I think. There's a collectible. So they're quite large. And I can hide them. They're 10,000 each. And poof, he's gone. And then... So the reason you might do that is you can, in essence, find them and store them up. So there's the map object hider. So I've hidden the gate at the store and the collectible. There you go. On Newlands, I found that map object hider was immediately helpful for just hiding the collisions on that the map maker on Newlands has put on a bunch of annoying objects. Interestingly, though, I can't find the for the barriers that are at the market. I haven't easily been able to find the reference point for that object so that I can hide it. So got a bit of hunting around to do. But on that tricky sell point where I was selling the sugar last week, I was able to make that much easier to get into by just hiding the collisions on the garden lights along the path. There we go. We've done a circuit of the map. All in all, my assessment is this map could be quite a bit of fun play on. Depends what you like everything, depends what you like to do. There's even trees that you could take off if you really want to process those. So there's the garden centre all set in there. But I think for today, that's where we might leave it. Thank you everybody for popping in and watching. It's raining, so we can't finish the field here, but we might revisit this map at some point in the future. But next week we'll more than likely be back on Newlands in this time slot, and later this week we'll be back on the Oaks. So until then, thank you very much for dropping by and spending time with us. Have a good week, and we'll see you next time. See ya, everyone.